Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Glenn, what was the top story for you today?
Top story today is, and this is not an endorsement, because anytime I endorse a politician, they lose. So this is definitely not an endorsement. Number one story today, Donald Trump sweeps 2020.
Oh, all right,
Tell you
Stu.
why.
Well, I was going to say Bidenmania is here, and I'm actually pretty sincere about that right now.
Okay.
The rollout has been pretty interesting, and we have some details on that.
All right, and Mr. Andrew Heaton.
The city of Denver has a great opportunity to embrace freedom.
Oh, Mushroom Man is here.
I feel like you
100%.
practiced that in the mirror several times.
Every day, just every day.
All right, a lot to get into. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Riduzone. So summer's coming up. Obviously, some of you may be holding on to a couple extra pounds.
Why do you look at me when you say that? I don't even understand that.
Or
you have
from,
three options
like,
here. I mean, Andrew is in
1990.
Dallas now. He's probably gained weight. I mean, this guy over here, I mean...
I let myself go. I'm wearing pajamas. From here down, pajamas.
In all seriousness, though,
First time I've had pants on in a week, and they're pajama pants.
Riduzone is it's the good molecule in olive oil called OEA that boosts your metabolism and helps reduce your appetite. It's 100% natural. It doesn't have caffeine or any of those other crazy chemicals that make you're just walking around all the time jittering. It's not that, and I use it to maintain. It works like a charm for me. Go to Riduzone.com. Use promo code THEBLAZE, and you can get 30% off of a 3-month supply that will get you into summer looking good. Riduzone.com. Promo code THEBLAZE.
Which summer would I look good? How much
Summer of 20,
do I have
2030.
to take? Or how many years in the summer do I look good?
One
right,
summer in your life, you'll get there.
Yeah.
Donald Trump sweeps 2020. That's bold.
Here's why. Have you noticed what's going on the border? It is a full-fledged disaster. I got a call last night from the head of Operation OUR and the Nazarene Fund, Tim Ballard. And I've never heard him like this. And he said, Glenn, we've been in the jungles of Bangkok together, okay? The jungles of Thailand together. And we've seen sex trafficking nightmares, right? Yes. I'm in America. I'm calling from New Mexico, and I am seeing sex trafficking worse than I've ever seen. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going down to the border. I'm going to go to 3 separate places this weekend with him on the border. The United States government is taking people now from the border, kids, women and children, and they're just dumping them. They're just putting them on buses. One church in New Mexico is getting 1,000, was it 1,000? 1,000 people a day. A day. Okay? What do you do with 1,000 people a day? And this is in a town of like 30,000 people.
And 1,000 people, you have no idea what their background is, what their
No
history
idea.
is, if they're sick with anything.
So he was down there because the churches are reaching out to him going, there's something really wrong here, and we're handing children over to people we don't think are any good, but the police can't do anything, Homeland Security can't do anything. We don't feel comfortable with this. What do we do? I'm telling you, in the next 18 months, if the economy stays together, and if the conservatives will just not speak politics, just speak common sense and have heart and say, look at what's happening on the border. Look at how the abuse of these people from start to finish. The people of Mexico, the people of Honduras, they're running ads in Honduras. We can get you into America. They're running them on radio.
Gosh.
So these people are being used all the way here, and then we're just forgetting about them. We're just letting them loose. This is a nightmare on every level, and the only person who has talked about it in the right way has been Donald Trump. Jim Acosta, his line, we're going to play this every day until the election, him saying it's not a crisis on the border. This is not a crisis, because that's going to look like just an absolute idiot when you play that. When you start to see what's happening and what's coming, already the border towns on the southern border of Mexico, they're already collapsing into total chaos. This is going to happen on our side of the border. The government needs to fund border security. We need people down doing border security. We need about 200 judges. We can do it with about 80, but send 200. Adjudicate it. Move them either in or out. Stop dumping them. This is wrong on all levels.
Do you think that the average American is going to see this for what it is, though? Because if they're watching mainstream media, who's not telling them the full story.
Fox is starting to show the story. CNN, nobody's watching CNN. Down another 26%. There's no one watching. I just got this stat that more people have seen our special on The Blaze than watched prime time on CNN. Okay?
Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Fox is doing it. I'm start covering it on radio. I'm going down this weekend. We have to expose it. And if conservatives are smart, they will lead with their heart and they will talk about the plight of these children and women. If we talk about them only as objects of distress for us, we will lose. We will lose. We can show that the policies done by the progressives hurt these people and hurt Americans here. That's what we need to do, and we need to help them. Right now, this church called, and the reason why they called me is because they know I raise a lot of money. And so they asked, can you get Glenn Beck to pay any attention? We don't have money for bottled water. We're getting 1,000 people a day. This is not what we do.
The main thing I took out of that was that you're going to make me listen to Jim Acosta every day, and I am not thankful
You have
for
to play
that.
that every day, like a cuckoo clock. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Just
I'm
put
an
it in
idiot.
2 weeks.
Yes, I know. We need to come have a conversation with the lawyers about liability for future suicides in our audience if we're playing that every day.
I'm glad that you brought up bringing judges down there. I think that's a very good idea. The asylum process is really, really overwhelmed right now. And that's something that would bring a lot of alleviating factors to the buildup that we've got there. Where I don't see eye to eye with you on is I don't see Trump being a force for good in that capacity. I think you, Glenn, are very much in favor of helping people and helping them at the border, 100%. Mm-hmm. I see Trump as just trying to keep people out and being anti-immigrant.
So hang on just a second. I think that's unfair because even Trump used to say, and it used to drive me nuts, big beautiful wall with a big beautiful door in the middle of it. If anyone is against immigration, I'm not on the same side. But if you are saying we have to stop this at the border, I'm willing to sit down and listen to you, and as long as you're not a racist, have you on the same side, because we don't know who's even here. This is so bad right now. It wouldn't be bad to take a pause. I'm not for one, but it wouldn't be. I wouldn't. Run and scream in hysterics if we had a pause in immigration for 6 months until we sorted everything out. But we need Ellis Island. We need 3 stations strategically placed, 1 station strategically placed. If you can make it from Guatemala, you can make it from Mexico City or, Tijuana to El Paso, wherever that Ellis Island is. You get to Ellis Island. We're going to have the standards like we did in the early 1900s. We should be welcoming people. We should be welcoming people. The people who are already here that are on the border, we have to send them home as quickly as possible unless they are in real trouble. If they're in real trouble, I mean, not like because they're running for the law, but because they're, targeted for some reason, they're real refugees, we'll take the refugees in, adjudicate them, send them home. Be absolutely crystal clear on the border. You want to come through a port of entry, period. Do it the right way.
I also think, Andrew, an important distinction to make when we're talking about whether someone like Trump is in favor or not in favor of immigration is, are we talking about illegal immigration or are we talking about immigration? Because I think the two get conflated and people say, well, Trump is not for immigration.
Well, I think you're right. However, I think in the case of Donald Trump, it's both.
You do?
So yes, with most of the conservatives I know,
It might be.
Like for you guys, based on our conversations, like I think you're pro-immigrant, but you're pro-security, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not mutually exclusive.
I am pro-legal immigration all day long.
And I think most conservatives
They make
in
us
that camp.
better.
George W. Bush, 100% in that camp. Romney. Donald Trump, big on border security, but when it comes to legal immigration, he's taken steps or he's endorsed plans to limit legal immigration as well, which is why I think he's anti-immigration.
Well,
he does not appear to want it.
I actually think he doesn't care. He doesn't know. He doesn't care. He's got illegal immigrants working in his golf courses. We've seen that. So he doesn't care about that. I think that was really a Steve Bannon kind of policy that was put in there, and Steve Bannon was anti-immigrant. That sector, that's been pushed out, thank God. So I don't think.
Steve Miller is still there, and he's pretty. I would put him in the category of wanting to. I wouldn't say anti-immigrant, but I would say more restrictive than I would want to be. They are supposedly just coming through with about 30,000 seasonal workers that they're going to allow in, which would be the types of people that could work at Mar-a-Lago, right?
I have no problem. I grew up around seasonal migrants.
Yeah, no,
there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, sure. I think kind of what you were saying, or to start this off with the heart, though, is that there is that level of being able to talk about legal immigration, not just being something we tolerate, but something that we encourage. You know, this is something that conservatives should be on all the time, and that like these stories, there are great stories of immigrants who come here, do it the right way, and achieve wonderful things, and we should be focusing on that all the time.
Tesla. The guy came over, he had 50 cents to his name. 50 cents. He spent it right off the boat. I can't remember on what. He had nothing. He's walking down the street from the port, and he sees somebody trying to fix an engine, and they're just swearing up a storm. And he goes into the place. He said, "I can fix that." And the guy says, "If you can fix that, I'll give you $2 or whatever it was." Well, he works on it. And he fixes, and he said, "That's fantastic." Gave him the $2. And he said, "If I ever met the guy who built this damn engine, I think I'd cut his head off." And Tesla said, "Well, you shouldn't, because I invented the engine. That's why I could fix it."
Holy crap. Is that real?
That's true.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Let's get to Bidenmania when we come back.
Ooh, everyone's excited about this. It's a roller coaster ride.
I just can't imagine these debates. Before we get into Bidenmania, I want to thank our sponsor, realestateagentsitrust.com. You can't get through that without laughing.
We got to hurry. Let me get through this as quickly as possible. You want to sell your house? Realestateagentsitrust.com. You want to buy a new house? Realestateagentsitrust.com. You don't know how to find a good realtor? Realestateagentsitrust.com. What's wrong with you? Realestateagentsitrust.com. Do it now, Stu. Bidenmania.
I just don't think the person who owns that company is going to be happy with that commercial.
I
I'm just going
agree.
to say it right now.
No, he'll pay for it.
He will?
He will be.
Okay, that's good. Bidenmania is here. I think it's in effect. I mean, you're positive on the Trump outlook, and this is more about the primary. But Biden had been leading the polls for a while. When he announced what happens, we talked about it at the table, last couple weeks ago, right before he announced. Is this his high point of his candidacy, or is it all downhill from here, or is this the beginning of a rise? And I don't know. I mean, I kind of thought maybe it could be the high point, honestly, to be frank. I mean, I think he has a good chance of winning the nomination if he can not make big mistakes. And he's definitely the front runner, but he's a gaffe machine, and this guy could screw this up at any moment. But it's hard. I am legitimately blown away at how good his polling looks since he's announced. Let me go through some of this. So a few polls have been announced. This one starts with, I think this is Morning Consult. So 17 candidates out of the 22 are under 5%. So that right off the bat, This is a field that does not have a lot of real contenders. O'Rourke is at 5%.
Unbelievable.
Buttigieg at 6%.
Think of that. O'Rourke, the superstar, the JFK, is a point behind a guy who most people couldn't even pronounce his name if they saw it.
Right, that's true.
That's amazing.
Elizabeth Warren at 8%. Bernie Sanders is next at 19%. And then here's Joe at 40. So he's got a 21-point lead. According to Morning Consult. There's more. This is CNN. 16 candidates, again, under 5%. We go through Kamala Harris at 5%, O'Rourke at 6%, Buttigieg 7%, Warren 8%, Sanders 15%, Joe Biden 39%, a 24-point lead. Here is Quinnipiac, again, showing this is all consistent. 16 candidates, again, under 5%. Here's the roll again. O'Rourke at 5, Harris at 8, Buttigieg at 10, Sanders at 11, and Warren at 12 in this one, which is is an outlier. That's her best performing poll in a long time.
I cannot believe Elizabeth Warren is doing as well as she is.
Well, this poll has really showed her higher
No, but
than everybody
she's
else.
been in. She's in the top.
We're
every
listing
time.
her, right? Like she's not in the 16
Yes.
candidates under
Yeah.
5%. But again, Joe Biden at 38%, a 26-point lead. Last one here. This is Harris, I believe. 17 candidates, again, under 5%. Then you have Harris at 6%. You have Warren at 7%. Buttigieg at 8%. Sanders at 14%. And Joe Biden at 46, a 32-point lead. Now, this guy is in a 22 candidate field and he's clearing 40% regularly. That's not supposed to happen. Now, I know he's got great name recognition, but I mean, his name was recognized in the polling before he announced too.
This actually makes me feel better because Biden is perceived. I'm not
Yes.
saying he is. He's perceived as a moderate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the Democrats going, I don't want any of this socialist garbage.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because that was kind of my optimistic observation from that as well. Is like,
Please tell me you didn't debunk that.
no, I didn't.
Okay, good.
So right now I'm going to hold on to the fact that they don't want a socialist because I think right now what the typical Democratic voter sees is Sanders versus Biden, socialist versus non-socialist.
Yes.
And right now they're really going that other way. There's some people that are really informed on all the candidates and they're voting on these other ones, but I think right now it's only a directional vote, and right now they're selecting the Biden vote, which is a good. I think it's bad for Trump because I think Biden would be more difficult to beat.
I agree.
However, I think it's good for America in some way. But I wanted to give you one little flashback here.
some way.
Let's look back a little bit here and look at. I was like, well, I wonder what happened with Trump in 2015.
That was going to be my question
Because
to you. You have an answer.
One of the things that happened, and it was interesting with Trump, is Trump led the polls. I mean, a lot. And people dismissed it, and including me. I was like, this guy's not going to hold on to this. I didn't think it was going to happen. The same type of thing is happening right now with Biden. He's got 46% in one of these polls. Yeah, but he'll fall down. It'll change. Well, careful, because that's what everyone thought with Donald Trump. And I wanted to see how big was Donald Trump's lead. This is back in July of 2015. And the reason I selected July, this is going to blow you away, is that in May of 2015, Donald Trump had not announced his candidacy yet. In the same point of this cycle, Trump hadn't even come down the escalator yet. That was in June of 2015. So he finally does officially announce he's in the race. Here's what this looked like in July 2015. 8 candidates were under 5% of the vote. You had Kasich at 5%.
Sounds right.
Yep. Rubio at 6%. Rand Paul at 6%. Mike Huckabee at 6%. Ben Carson is at 6%. Then Jeb Bush was at 10%. Scott Walker, remember him, 13% in second place. And in first place, Donald Trump with 20. He had a 7-point lead. Joe Biden has a 30-point lead in some of these. I think Ted Cruz, by the way, had also 5%, but we had too many candidates on the screen. But bottom line, though, here is Biden's lead is far more compelling than Trump's was at this particular time. In a field with even more candidates, I mean, it is an impressive rollout. And, he's got to be thrilled with the way this is unfolded. And, he's got past his little I smell people's hair, scandal so far. He's in a good position. It's his to lose. He could actually just, roll to this if he doesn't make mistakes.
What I find interesting about this is I think Joe Biden, I was bullish on Joe Biden initially, but I think that he has a number of foibles that he is singularly suited for. So from a policy perspective, he's basically Hillary Clinton 2.0. Like the two big marks against him in my book are the war in Iraq and tough on crime policy in the 1990s, right? So all stuff that Hillary Clinton was doing, all stuff that Hillary Clinton ran on.
You're thinking these are the things that separate them from other Democrats that you don't like?
Yes, that's also true. However, I'm going to say from a policy position, I think he's pretty similar to Hillary Clinton. But add to that if, say, the Democrats want to bring up Russia shenanigans with Trump, well, you can immediately bring up Ukraine shenanigans with Joe Biden. You want to bring up grab 'em tapes.
But that plays both ways. That inoculates both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't bring up either Ukraine or China without somebody saying, well, what about his? Now, I think it's radically different. But the press won't make any difference between the two.
But it's interesting. I think the Democrats would rather have Russia to pick at than, because Republicans will try to do Ukraine, but there's a big learning process on the Ukraine thing. Like it's trying to get people up. That's what we were trying to. That's why we did the show, right? We wanted people to actually understand it. But that's a long road of trying to get people to really get on that.
China's pretty
I think
easy.
It can happen. I think it can happen, but people right now, like nobody knows about it, right? It takes education. I think you were going too about the touching tapes, right? Like that's another great one.
I mean, like Trump is not a moral exemplar when it comes to ladies.
Right. So
however, at the same time, if you want to find somebody that's kind of hard to make that case, Joe Biden's a decent one to do that. He can't really, he's not sexually harassing women and that kind of thing, but at the same time, though, his boundary levels, his comfort levels are all kind of wonky-jawed, so like he's not the guy to lead the charge on that.
No.
Do you think it would be dangerous at all for him, once the lower tier people start dropping out? They're obviously all running as, radicals.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that those people who were voting for them would then go to Bernie. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
So
I mean, the meteoric rise of Michael Bennett.
Yeah, I'm sure. Surely that's
So I
on
wonder
the way.
if then that would give Bernie an advantage.
It could.
There's so many of them.
It could.
And Bernie would be the
Yeah.
only, to me, Bernie would be the only.
I think
other
that's true. I think it's
candidate.
Klobuchar, there's Hickenlooper, there's Bennett, there's Delaney. There's a few that fall into that wing.
But let's just say that
they're all well behind.
He stays the lead guy, and it looks like he's going to be the next president. I think there's a lot of people that would not vote for Biden because of what you just said. He's Hillary Clinton. He's the same old crap. We had all of these. This is how conservatives felt the last time. We had real constitutionalists. We had real chances of getting somebody of real quality meat that we've wanted for a long time. We didn't get it. We're like, we had those choices, and we ended up with Donald Trump. That's how a lot of conservatives felt, and they held their nose and dealt for Donald Trump. I'm not sure the socialists hold their nose for Joe Biden.
Great point. All right, back in a minute.
Yeah, there's one poll that said that I think it was 26% of Bernie supporters said they would vote for Trump instead of.
All right, Andrew, you said there's something about mushrooms going on in Denver?
Yes, and freedom.
Yes, he didn't say
Colorado.
mushrooms. Glenn said mushrooms.
Yeah,
he said freedom.
Glenn foresaw where I was going to go, and in fact, it does involve mushrooms. So tomorrow, in the great state of Colorado, people in Denver have the opportunity to vote on whether or not to decriminalize magic mushrooms. So that is to say, hallucinogenic mushrooms that have psilocybin in them. Now, the research has been pretty bullish the last few years that psilocybin in mushrooms is good for dealing with depression, alcoholism, things like that. There's a lot of good indications that it shouldn't be a Schedule I drug, but should rather be something that's a part of the pharmaceutical cornucopia we have to treat these things. But I'm going to say a deeper issue, though, is you own your body. You're a free citizen in a republic. You own your body. Your body is not corporate property of the United States. It's not entrusted to the community. The government's not your dad. It's not your chaplain. It's not your manager. You own your body. If you want to put something in it, you can. So I hope the people in Denver vote for freedom.
It is an interesting point because we don't really say that to people when we're talking about, processed junk that we're putting in our bodies all the time.
Don't you dare talk negatively about processed junk.
I'm not saying Taco Bell, but I'm just saying Taco Bell.
Alcohol and
it would be. They will as soon as they can regulate because of health
insurance. Yeah,
you will. They will have something to say about that. But what's crazy is when we look at things that could cure cancer, could help pain, could do all these different things, we won't let you try it. We won't let you try it. That's nuts. I have a right to live, and I have a right to die, and I have a right to my body.
The right to try legislation did go through, which does some of the things, I think, not all of the things you're hoping for, but it does some of those things, and that was a good thing I think Trump and bipartisan nature was able to accomplish.
I was really happy about that. I personally, my uncle died from ALS, and there was an experimental drug that they wanted to take, but it hadn't cleared all of the FDA hurdles yet, and so he wasn't allowed to take it. Especially when you're talking about a disease that it's terminal. Right. You're not giving me another option here. Why can't I decide?
We're still looking at, this would be the argument, they're still looking at a reasonable system. It can get into absolute quackery quickly. I mean, look at Mexico. I'm going to come there and I'm going to heal you with my hands, and I pulled out a chicken liver and you're healed now. I mean, that stuff does happen. But you have to trust that people are going to be smarter than that.
Yeah. All right, Overtime starts next. BlazeTV.com. Use promo code NEWS and you can get $10 off. We will see you there.
And Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.